Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, May 9th. You might not recognize where I'm at. This is, as my friend Carolyn would say, my old hood. I grew up along here. There actually used to be a building, a little tiny building here that, like right where that stuff is. And this was the Ann Arbor Railroad. And I want to show you the tracks. So this used to be, and I don't want to say a street because that wasn't really what it was, but it was a dirt road that you could drive two cars, one in each direction through to the next three streets. So we were able to ride our bikes a little further than most, but this was our playground. The Ann Arbor Railroad guys, engineers who drove the trains, would stop here, and there used to be a restaurant way down there called Tom's Lounge, and they would go to Tom's Lounge and they would have dinner. They played with all of us kids. You know, back when it was safe, you could do this sort of thing. I remember my mom making them cookies, and they were just great people. And I actually ran into one. His name was Dino. I don't know if that was probably not his real name. It was probably Dennis or something. They all called him Dino. A few years, more than a few now, it's probably been 25. And he recognized me. Like, he couldn't tell if I was Teresa or Cindy, but he knew where I belonged. And we talked for a bit. I actually have an Ann Arbor Railroad shirt and an Ann Arbor Railroad jacket. And if the Ann Arbor people see this, you need to go back to your orange and black. This yellow doesn't work for me. So a little bit of flood. We had a lot of rain the last couple of days. Tuesday it rained. Tuesday? Yes. All day. And then Wednesday was clear. And then all of a sudden Wednesday night it just dropped on us. I want to show you this right here. Back in my day, I don't know if it still does, this belonged to the house next door. And there was a little tiny house here that the lady next door, her mother lived in until she passed away, I believe. We used to call it a haunted house. Yeah, I just want to share the hood with you. And I will get to that towards the end on why I picked this. Oh, a cardinal. So this house was an older couple. And they were called the Mr. and Mrs. Wood. I never knew their first names. I see that garage thing wasn't there back in the day either. They kept to themselves. They didn't do much with the neighborhood, but like I said, they were older. This house, which I always loved, that breezeway they have over here, that was Mr. and Mrs. Blunt. And I'm trying to remember how old we were. Cindy and I were out here riding our bikes when we found him in the lawn. He had a heart attack while mowing and passed away. But we were young. I mean, we were, I would say, under the age of 8, or at least 10. We were under the age of 10. Now, this house where the birds just took off from, that was always a rental. Today it looks better than it has in years past. Looks really good. People were in and out, didn't associate much with the neighborhood. I'm going to come over to this other side. This house here was Elsie's. Elsie was an older woman. I was younger than her great-grandchildren. And every year for Halloween, she would make cookies and put apples and stuff out there for us to take on her porch. We loved Elsie. I mean, you have generation gaps, but not with Elsie. This next house here, which is now yellow, I remember it green. And if any of you are out there who remember this house, let me know if you remember it green or another color. Mr. and Mrs. Stone lived here, and Mrs. Stone always called me Tweety Bird. I don't know why, but she did. They had grandchildren our age. Like I said, good people. This was a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood back in the day. And then we'll just go right here to Derby's house. This was Derby's. Her name is Debbie. We call her Derby. She lived here with her two boys, Billy and Jerry. Billy and I were the same age, went to school together, though they separated us in kindergarten. There's three of us. You'll meet Cindy's house in a minute that lived right here together. They separated us for kindergarten because they wanted us, they were too separated to make friends. When in kindergarten you go to Potter's Park, and when we went to Potter's Park, my mom was our chaperone, the poor woman. She was like, had enough with, they literally like gave her the three of us. This, I don't remember who before, but Tom and Ruth Fuller lived here, and all three of their kids were born here, but they were younger. So, like, we're all kind of the same age group around here, which is probably why it was a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood. This was Mary Johnson's house. Mary was older, had no children, but was great to all of us in the neighborhood. Like, we loved Mary. And then, if you can see not the White House here, the one behind, that's where little Debbie grew up. And her dad lived, I don't think there's a fence, you can't see it, just over. And then that building over there, I think it's a mowing place or something, used to be Ernie's Market. We would go to Ernie's Market all the time. I remember being really, really sick in the 4th grade. I mean, I think I missed like 2 or 3 weeks of school. Birds are after me. Figures, I'm in this neighborhood. And I remember walking with my mom, like her making me go outside, because it was nice out. Like, it wasn't like dead of winter. We walked over to Ernie's Market. She let me get a Dr. Pepper. Nobody in my immediate family, my dad liked Diet Dr. Pepper, my mom, not so, no. And I drink Dr. Pepper, but all my nieces and nephews do. All right, this was Frank's house. I believe the Dennises live here now, or they did. He had a white fence around here, and I'm looking at the balls in the yard and just remembering him yelling at us every time our ball went in his yard. And if you see that house over there with the trailer and the truck, that's where the Deerings live, which was what? Connie, Larry, and Doug. Connie was older than Jane and Denise. Larry and Jane dated for a while. And then Doug was Paula's age, so a few years older than I am. Look at this tree. Yeah, I am. God, this thing's gorgeous. This was not here growing up. I'm just telling you. Isn't that beautiful? Today is National Gardening Day, I believe. Let me look. It is National Public Gardening Day. So please don't go garden somebody's yard. Do your own. But this, I remember Nick and Lisa lived here. And young couple. And he built like an airplane, part of it in his garage. And he had let us help him, like we got to take the drill thing or something once, and that was about it. And then when he got the plane built, he took us up one by one and we flew. I'm gonna look up. We flew, and all our parents were out here. Like during power outages, we'd be out here because we had gas stove, and my dad would make popcorn, and we'd be out here. Look at this drive. Wow. Driveways, I gotta give kudos to this. I remember that carport wasn't even there, let alone a garage. This is where Cindy lived, and she forever and ever will be my best friend because we grew up together. Like, so it was Paula lived here, John lived here, Cindy and I. Cindy, Billy, and I are the same age, so she was, and then, who came next? Then Deanna, and then much, much later, their mom had, Angie, and not like much later, and then we get, I'm trying to remember what color it was. So this driveway, Cindy's going up it, and there's a wired fence. And we lived here, and I want to say it was gray when my parents bought it, but I was little, so I don't really remember. I remember it blue. And the door was where those trash cans are, and somebody was coming out, and I'm talking to Cindy, and I walk right into a metal door. And then if you see, here's my notes for weather, there's the chimney, and so a sparrow had built a nest up there. The same day we went to Potter's Park, we were out here playing, and the driveway then was gravel, and we were playing with our little rakes and shovels, and one of them got me right in the forehead. And I'm gonna laugh at this tree because according to my sisters, when my parents bought this house, there was a tree here, and there was a branch that went over, and they played a game called Nukem. I have no idea what that is. I don't remember the tree. I don't remember a stump, but I do remember this. That was first base, that water. I don't know if you can see it. Probably see my shadow. I'm like a groundhog. Anyway, there's a water right there, little water thing. That was first base. And we'd start right about the mid, like where those marks are. Them are probably from us 40 years ago playing. The corner here of the curb by Mary's was third base, and we always had to find something for second base. And then this breaks my heart. So what I'm looking at now is like none of that was there when we lived there. That tree in the back, they took out the pine tree we planted, which I planted with my nephew Alex. They took, and I don't even think it's this people, I think it was previous people. And oddly enough, that jungle right there is probably from my mom and all her plants. But where, like, it's open as you go through, we had a picket fence, only it wasn't white. It was like done up like crayons. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and post it onto here so you can see. And then I don't know if you can see the telephone pole that I rode Billy, like I hit, back up. I hit the curb right there, went into the pole, ended up with stitches in my mouth. And it's like, and by the way, I didn't go to no dentist or no doctor to have the stitches removed. My dad pulled them out in the kitchen there and told me I was fine. I think quite a few of us got hurt on this pole over the years. So I'm like looking, there's like holes. They're probably from us. Man, we were like the Janie Panagopoulos, the writer, lived down the street. She was the Blunt's daughter. But there's a tree stump here, and we loved that tree. They probably, I mean, it was old. They probably had to tear it down. As a matter of fact, so you've got that window's the porch. That's the living room. What? That second window must be the one to the utility room when you go down the basement, which my grandpa built the stairs for. And then the next window was that little tiny room. And then that last window was my bedroom. But today is also National Sock Memorial Day. So if you have a sock that you're missing, that's where you want to, like, I don't know, maybe it's time to get rid of it. Like, I don't know. If you had it a while, maybe it's time, maybe it's not. Like, maybe you're like, it's your favorite sock and you're going to find it. Like, so oh, look at the lattice work up there. I only remember being in the attic a few times. But also today, like I said, it's National Public Gardening Day. It's also on this day in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson declares the second day of May as Mother's Day. And on May 9th, 1865, President Johnson, which FYI is 160 years ago today, an end to the war. And I want to wish a happy birthday to my cousin Owen Reed. And the reason we're here is a Mother's Day weekend. Yes. Come back to where it kind of all started. Actually, like I said, wasn't born right here. I was born in Dutchtown. That's where I'll do Dutchtown next. But we're gonna come over here. Look at this house. I was in this house. I spent time with my neighbor Derby when my dad got sick. I spent time with Derby when my mom's mother passed away, and she was so excited she got to get a girl dress because she had boys. But today is Derby's birthday, so this is why I came here too. I want to wish you a happy birthday, Derby. You and Diane were second moms to me. I still remember 4th of July's. We would watch fireworks over here in the Granger's yard. That driveway was not there. Dick Granger did build that garage though. But we'd watch over there, and Diane would make usually some sort of dessert. My parents were responsible for getting drinks, and Derby got hot dogs, and we'd sit out at the Granger's yard watching the fireworks from Corona. Like, we rode our bikes up and down this street together. We grew up in the 80s, well, 70s and 80s, and Generation X, so it was like, be home when the street lights came on. Well, there's your street light right there. And we were allowed to roam. Even at, I parked my car here because when the Stones moved out, Cindy's has a sister from her dad that moved in there, and I was complaining. Somebody parked in my spot, and so she come out with chalk and wrote that was my parking spot. But I remember one winter, I think it was 78, the year of the blizzard. We had all this snow piled up here. Do you remember those little plastic squares you could make an igloo out of? I remember crawling in and out of the igloo. So where that vent is back there was a basketball hoop, which I think my nephews broke, by the way. I don't know if the back porch is still on there, and I don't want to go in people's yards. They are probably already looking out going, there's some crazy one. Yeah, the back porch that my dad built is gone. And I'm out there at the back porch, and Cindy's in that last window. That was her bedroom. And she watched me with my right hand dribble a basketball and throw it over my head and swoosh it in. But the window's here, so this front window is the dining room. And I can still remember. Here, we'll come back this way so you can, because it's chilly out. It was frosty last night. We had a frost advisory. I'm not sure. We might have even been under the window. I don't remember this tree. So you see the window with the blinds. I remember walking home from school. It's winter. It's cold. Yeah, our parents didn't pick us up. And that window, it's Tuesday, and that window is steamed over because my dad made bean soup and homemade bread. And then the two windows, that's where the sink was in the kitchen. The next window is the bathroom, and I still think bathroom should be green because that bathroom was green. But yeah, I wanted to, pay a little respect. Derby's so looking down the road here, oddly enough, there's only two people that I grew up around here still alive, and that's Derby and Tom Fuller. Everybody else is gone. My niece Amanda, she might remember they rented the Fuller's house at one point, and she lived there for a while. And being the oldest of my parents' grandchildren, she was here a lot. So Cody used to leave. He'd run away from home from there over to Grandma and Grandpa's, or Bama and Bampa as he called them. And my mom would lose him, and he'd be in my room, in my bed, and I had all these pillows, and he'd be buried in there. But I want to end on this because I did a picture here a couple weeks ago just about sunset and shared it with my sisters. And they're like, wait, we are going to cheat. I want to see. I see something in the yard. Actually, my dad built a fence all around this. There were he did the sidewalk, so there was an arch there, and I would take those Halloween pumpkin bags and we'd rake up the leaves and put them on top. Look at that Nomi in the yard. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't do it just because put it on there. I think Jane broke that window too with a baseball bat. Now that I'm looking at it, I think Jane did. We might have to get the sisters to clarify that. We also had a pool back there for a while. I don't even know where the pool came from. I just remember a pool. Yeah, because my dad's got a picture of me in my Winnie the Pooh swimsuit, and I got a life preserver on, and I'm on my big wheel. So, yeah, that's kind of adventures we had here. But like I said, we grew up in a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood. I wish that for everybody today. Like, I talk to people my age, a little older, a little younger. They didn't have what we had here. Like I said, Derby's still alive. Derby could come down the street and yell at me to get out of the street, and I'm getting out of the street. Like, you listen to your neighbors' parents, or Nick and Lisa, who didn't have kids until just before they left. You listen to them as much as you listen to your parents. You know, little side note, I got mad at my mom and I ran away to the Granger's front porch there. Like, it just, there's so many. I was like, what am I gonna do? You know, I want to do something, you know, to honor Derby, and I say honor. I don't want to, like, nothing to happen to Derby. She's all I got left. But like, it's Mother's Day weekend. You know, this is where I grew up. This is, however, I do love the added gnomes to the neighborhood. Got to give kudos to that. But just an FYI, tomorrow is National Small Business Day. Check out your small businesses. You know, maybe go out for lunch tomorrow. Go to, and I'm going to do Owasso, or I'll do Krana too. 401 South. Excellent. I would say more do them for breakfast because they're awesome for that. But, you know, maybe that's not your thing. Do lunch. You know, let's see. In Owasso, I'm like, you could go. We talked about going to Niche a couple weeks ago. You could go to Niche. Like, there's all sorts of. Honestly, Chip's place has gotten a little better because they were awful there for a while. I think we went once recently, and I'm talking about 3 or 4 months ago. You know, their food is better. Their staff was better. So they're making a lot of changes over there. Greg and Lou's, BJ's. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Like, if you know some more, throw them in the comments. But with that, like I said, I'm going to end on our house. So, like, we'll do our house in Derby's. Pretend like I'm 5 again. And I want you all to have a happy and blessed day.